Okay, so today we're going to work on the door behind her. This part of the door that is closer. If we have time, the table. Yeah. So we're trying to finish everything behind her so we can start working on the actual dress and the skin tone. So for this door on the right-hand side, I have here ivory black, burnt umber, and yellow ochre. So for this, it's going to be very simple. Not we have a layer of burnt umber. So I'm going to be taking my masking tape. I'm going to mask, and I'll show you what I'm masking on the reference, so you'll know, because this is very hard for you to see right now. I am masking this part right here. This part, the side of the door, the thickness of the door. Think maybe if I do if I do it, and then you'll see what I mean. You'll see it better. Just going to take burnt umber and put some yellow ochre in it. This way I can highlight it a bit. It'll be highlighted a bit, but not too light. And I'm just going to paint it all the way down.
There's no angle, it's straight, right?
Straight, no angle. That's why I like this reference, because there's no definition or detail except for her. Now, this is supposed to be the wall right here, or wood part, another part of the frame right here. Now, I don't know if you can see it, but the door is open. It's on an angle. It's kind of an angled kind of, the rest is angled. So and you will see, I mean, if you look at the reference, you'll see right underneath or behind where she's sitting, there's a line that's going on an angle, up, down from here, up, and it hits kind of the start of the bottom of the chair. Same here, another one. So if we do that, if we do something like this, let's say on an angle this way, and another angle, let me see, underneath. I'll wait for it to dry, and if it needs any kind of adjustment, I'll do it at that point. This is just burnt umber right now. So this is burnt umber and yellow ochre, and what I'm doing right now, I'm putting, oh, this is just burnt umber. The angle is burnt umber and yellow ochre, and the rest is just burnt umber. We don't want it to be too strong. It is not the focal point. Actually, behind the chair, I'm going to add a little bit of black with my burnt umber behind the chair, because otherwise the chair is brown, the door is brown, we're going to mix. But if I put a bit of black with my burnt umber and I just add it here, I can see the chair more. Now, another area where I'm going to add more black to my burnt umber is in here. This wall, it's really inside the room or the pub should be darker. Then I can see the door, the frame of the door better. And at the same time, again, I don't want it to be, it's not the focal point. Now, I washed my brush. I'm going to take burnt umber at this point. I'm just going to clean up this part. Now I'm simplifying what I'm seeing. Okay. And if we want to be really kind of accurate about this, we can do burnt umber. I will pause the recording in a minute so you can work on this. I would do the same like I did here. Highlight tiny bit with burnt umber and yellow ochre, this part of the door. You know, this is supposed to be glass, right? So I'll show you what's glass. All of this area is supposed to be glass. I'm going to take more round brush and I'm going to highlight this part. So it will dry darker, but it will give that kind of, it looks like the door is open on this side. It's on an angle, so you'll see this part and you won't see this, the other one. Brown.
That's just burnt umber, did you say that part?
This part right here, half of this half circle,
Yeah,
half of it here is burnt umber and yellow ochre, and the other half here is
Yeah.
burnt umber, just burnt
Okay.
umber.
okay, thank you.
Technically between the door and the frame. Between the door and the frame, this frame, this part, and the side of the door, there should be a dark gap. And usually this is where the hinges are. Now the bottom part, when we're doing the ground, the floor, this part should go in like this of the door. All right, that's good enough. Okay, so this, what we're going to do right now, we're going to work on this door, the one on the left-hand side. We're going to put simple, we're going to make it simple, a hint of a door, and I put a masking tape. I'm going to use yellow ochre and a bit of burnt sienna in my yellow ochre. The reason I'm using burnt sienna is just because there's red in here in that wood from the burnt umber. And the chairs are reddish brown. So it's nice to add a bit of that color in there. I'm using a flat brush or bright, and I put a masking tape, and I'm just going to do a hint of a frame. And I'm going to put one across this way. Oh, sorry. That's more of a burnt sienna. Again, go down. And kind of a wider bottom part. Now, if you want to put more detail, it's up to you. You're welcome to put more detail if you like. I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to take, again, a little bit of yellow ochre, burnt umber, and just clean up the center. Right. Let's add a tiny bit of reds. The red is actually burnt sienna. Here and there. Just make it a little bit warmer, reddish. We can put a detail if we like, if we want. We can just take burnt sienna and then just put a bit of a light burnt sienna here and right here. And that should be okay. Should be enough. Done. Now I'm going to move on to the table because we have the burnt sienna already, so we can do the table today. Okay, so now we're going to work on the table. I have here phthalo blue. It doesn't matter what shade, green or blue, red or green, doesn't matter. Black, ivory black or any black, and yellow ochre or yellow oxide. Doesn't matter which one. So I'm going to take the phthalo blue and I'm going to put a little bit of yellow ochre in it to make it green. But you can see it's a toned down green because the yellow ochre is a toned down kind of yellow. And I'm going to take it and put it here. And you see when you put this color, the back should be darker than this. So that's why I have black. I'm going to take a little bit of black, put it in. Leave some, just, you don't need much. You just need a little bit of that combination of black and phthalo blue and yellow ochre. Now a little bit more. I'm going to take a little bit of black and put it in the back here. And again, let's take yellow ochre, put a bit of more yellow ochre in that phthalo blue combination and highlight the front of the table. Now on the table, there are some stuff. There's a glass of wine or a glass that has water in it. We'll do this after. We don't need to do it right now, but just highlight this part of the table, the one that is closer to the door. Now I'm going to take I'm going to take yellow ochre and I'm going to put a bit of black in my yellow ochre. Or you could put brown or whatever, but we have black right now, just a tiny bit of black in there. Using black with the tip of my brush, not too much. And I'm gonna, again, a little bit more. Gives you that brassy kind of greenish yellow color. Maybe darker, especially in this area here. Oh, yeah.
Did you say you mixed blue with the yellow ochre?
No, just black.
Oh,
I'm
black.
mixing black
And yellow ochre.
Okay.
and yellow ochre, yes, for the
And
first
yellow ochre,
layer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to do the same in the back. Oh, you know what? I'm going to change my brush. Get a bit, finer one. Round, fine brush. Same, I'm going to take yellow ochre, black, a lot more, you know, not a lot, but more black than what I used on here. And I'm just going to put a hint of the base of the table. I'll pause a bit and then I'll highlight the table. All right, let's highlight the brass part. So it's the same thing. I'm going to take yellow ochre only, nothing else, no other color for now. And try to highlight the upper part. This is a bit tricky. Now I'm going to leave a little bit of that dark part in between, and I'm going to highlight the bottom part. And that gives me a nice detail. I'm not going to highlight the back, just leave it just the way it is. This is the highlighted part here. A little bit of white. I'll clean up this part later on. Okay, just added white to my yellow ochre, and I'm going to highlight this part here. On mine, there's a little bit of a gap, wider gap than what's in the reference. That dark in there, but it doesn't matter. Clean up. I'm going to let it dry, or even now, add more white and go in here. I can put a third line highlight in between, or just leave it just the way it is. I'm not gonna, okay, you know what? I will just put one more layer of black and yellow ochre at the bottom here, because I don't want it to look too strong. Just a tiny bit. Okay. That's good. All right, that's awesome. Looks great. All right, let's do the glass of wine, black and white, gray. Okay. Now I'm going to do the sides. Like I'm going to draw the glass of wine. And I'm just going to give it a bit of, instead of a stem that's kind of tapers, and I'm just going to give it a little bit of a design here. Bottom part, it's like an oval, flat kind of oval. Now, same gray. Just make it a little bit kind of like a glaze. Should dry darker because it's a glaze. I don't want to cover it completely. I just want to cover parts of, parts in that glaze. Now that I have this shape, I can take more white, put it in, and I'm doing glazing, so it's not really heavy paint. Now I know that the source of light is coming from this side, so I know where to put my highlights. I'm going to put a bit of a thin line top. And then strong kind of highlight. So the strong highlights are not everywhere. They're here and there because that's the light bouncing back and forth on the glass. I'm glancing a bit at the reference, although I can't see much, but it gives me a kind of an idea. We just want to have a suggestion. We're not painting it. It's not the focal point. I take alizarin crimson. The only reason I'm putting red is just a nice little touch in there. You're welcome to put any color you like. I'm going to take alizarin crimson and black, mix them together like a dark kind of burgundy color. And I'm just going to put there in here. A little bit of a highlight with white. I'm gonna let it dry a bit and try to put more highlights over. Mix lighter alizarin crimson, but not too light, kind of a medium tone. Put it in here. Don't want to like, you don't want it to look like pink. So I'm going to go back and just darken some areas with alizarin crimson and black. It's looking too bright right now. Too pink. This is a glaze of gray, gray. And a bit of darker glaze here of black and gray. So it's just, I'm only working with values, light and dark, light and dark. I don't want to put too much, and I'm waiting for it to dry too, see how it goes. Now we should be able to see the color behind, or this round, this part here. So to do this, to see the part, we don't have to, we can just leave it just the way it is. There's no need to put too much detail. But if we want to see it, we're going to show it actually. Well, okay, that's good. We can use dark yellow ochre with a bit of black and just draw the line in there, in here, connect it in the back. But honestly, it's such a small little thing. There's no need to put this detail. This is good enough. I'll wait for it to dry, and if it needs to be toned down, I'll tone it down. Like maybe, actually here, let me do it right now. Let's do it right now. Let's tone it down a bit with some darker grays. It's a glaze. I'll go darker. I'm using black. Black, a little bit of white. glaze, not heavy. It's not heavy. And I'm adjusting the value. More darker, should be darker. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Much better. It shows a bit of more transparency. What's behind it is dark, so shouldn't see too much. You should see a bit of that transparency. Good. That's much better. So I reduced the amount of, or the line, I made the lines thinner, the white lines, I made them thinner. And I'm going to go back now with a lighter or a gray, not black. And I'm just going to go in, and that's a glaze as well, because that when you glaze the glass, it's better when you're doing glass, it's better to use glaze. Kind of darken this part with dark red. Good. That's good. It's done. Right. This is where we're at this week. Next week, we'll start working on the figure.